Hi everybody, welcome to my dream YouTuber studio tour. I've been looking forward to this video for a very long time, so I'm super excited to be recording it. My husband, Mr. Snubs on Twitter, he's going to be recording as my camera op for this video. And it looks like my dog and cat want to join, so if they come in and you hear paws, that would be why. This is gonna be really fun. I will try to make it as quick as possible so you can see everything that's going on in this space. So I'm gonna point out everything you have been asking about throughout the entire space, and I'll just do a big circle so you can see everything with me. So starting off, I wanted to introduce you to the networking closet. So as you can see, this networking closet has a motion detecting light, but in here I had the perfect space to include my brand new networking rack. You will see a full episode where I build the rack and you can see all the Ubiquiti equipment that's going in there, as well as my network attached storage. So I'm gonna hold off on giving you an entire tour of that. But in the meantime, come on in. So this is kind of like my Harry Potter room where I have this random space underneath my stairs, and I wanted to make sure to make use of all the space in this basement. So I figured it would be a good place to keep any of the additional building tools that we may need in the future for the house. And then in the front is where I have the networking gear. Are you gonna stay there, Suki? Hey, baby. Oh, good girl. Good girl, yes. All right, let's go ahead and move over to the studio. So the first spot I wanted to mention to you is the ThreatWire Set. That is for the Hack 5 channel where I do a show called ThreatWire. So if you're interested in security and privacy news, which you might be, then check out the Hack 5 channel, which is over at youtube.com/HAK5. It's actually very, very simple. I don't know if you can hear it on the microphone in here, but there is an echo. And one of the things I do intend to do with this space, which I haven't done yet, is to actually set up more foam on the ceiling as well as the walls, because I'm basically in a box in this corner and you can definitely hear my voice bouncing off of that wall and the ceiling above me. So that's gonna be something I need to fix, but I just haven't gotten to it yet. So this is a fairly small set, which just includes my ThreatWire backdrop, which you can see back here, and it includes one tripod with one camera and one teleprompter. Luckily, a lot of that has been streamlined thanks to the Hack 5 studio where I used to record this. So I actually took this tripod from the Hack 5 studio where we used to record ThreatWire, and I put it into my own studio here at home. So this is one tripod, and it is set up on 3 wheels, 3 casters down at the bottom. Each of those casters can be locked in place, so I don't have to worry about it moving around on me. So it's basically stationary the whole time. The entire thing is plugged in directly above it into a switch that I had mounted on the ceiling, so I never have to worry about trying not to trip over cords or anything like that. So it's a fairly quick process for me to get started in the recording every time I record this show on Mondays. So this teleprompter looks different from my other teleprompter for Morse code. I do use a teleprompter because I go off on tangents and sometimes I feel like I just can't focus. So this helps me keep focused so that the videos are nice and short and compact and they're easy to watch on YouTube. This teleprompter was kind of hacked together when we had it at the Hack 5 studio, so I just kept it because it saved me some money. I didn't have to buy a new one or anything. It includes a monitor which is mirrored onto a mirror, and behind that is the camera which shoots onto the ThreatWire Set, which you're standing behind right now. All of this I can monitor whenever I'm on camera through this little guy, which is called a Ninja 2. It also has a solid state drive inside of it, so I can actually record straight to that as well as an SD card in the camera itself if I need to have a backup, which is always useful just in case there's an issue with the SD card. And then on the back of here, I have just a pair of Sony monitors that I like to use just to check my audio in case there's any issues with the lavalier that I use to record. There are 2 lights for the ThreatWire Set. One that is mounted right here that's stationary all the time. I have another one over here that can switch back and forth. So I can point it directly at the ThreatWire Set, or I can point it at the Morse Code Set. That way I'm saving a little bit in my budget there. I don't have to buy an additional light since I can point it either which way that I need it. The last thing over in this corner for this ThreatWire Set is my green screen. So If you've never seen one of these Elgato green screens, they're so nice and so compact and so easy to use. I love them. Highly recommend. I will put links down below to everything that I'm using in here as well, if things are still available to purchase online, since this is from like 10 years of experience in studios. So I have tried to make everything as efficient and easy as possible. And this is one of those things that I highly recommend. Ooh, go to sleep, green screen. Okay, so that's everything with the ThreatWire set. Let's move over to the Morse Code set for the channel that you're watching this on. So here I have my Morse Code set. I wanted to make this very aesthetically pleasing for my own personality. So I put a lot of my favorite colors in here. I also included a lot of merchandise as well as just pieces from my personality and from my experiences from the past decade of doing different shows. So on these shelves, you can see several different pieces of those. Lots of little Easter eggs, if you will. Each and every one of these shelves kind of has a theme to them. So up here, I just have a few different things from my background. Like, my sister used to live in Hawaii, so I have this sustainably sourced coral up here, as well as a little piece from my childhood, which is this astronaut Barbie. And my parents were always really big into like letting me be into science and letting me be into tech. My dad helped me build computers when I was a kid, so I really like keeping those pieces of my childhood around, because they always kind of remind me of where I came from. I have a ton of hacker gear on this top shelf, including my ThreatWire totem board, which you can see back here, my call sign if you're a licensed ham radio operator, so am I, as well as some little pieces from things that I have built. I've soldered a lot of things, I've messed with Raspberry Pis and Arduinos, so I like to keep a little collection of those whenever they are not in use. You'll notice each of these different shelves has little pieces of powerful women in them. So this one includes Lunch from Dragon Ball Z, which if you don't know, she's a great character. You should check out that show, it's hilarious, and she's my favorite character, so that's why she is here. This little lady was actually given to me by a fan, and I have kept her around since like 2010, I want to say. My husband is kind of creeped out by her, but I love my monkey. I think she's adorable, and her name is Snubs. And on the bottom shelf, I have some of my favorite fandoms like Gundam Wing, Batman, Cardcaptor Sakura, so definitely nerd life. Don't judge me too hard. This separate shelf has some fun little things that I have built in my past background working with Hack 5. I have my Nyan Cat, which is an LED light up Arduino controlled board, and it was super fun to build, but it took a long time, and I haven't powered it up in a long time. Hopefully it still works. I also have some awards like this one from Texas Cyber Summit up here, some books, some more of them written by my friends, like Svetlana wrote this book. She's a wonderful author and artist, so check her out. This Barbie and Ken doll set was actually another one from my childhood. My mom found this and it's never been opened, so I was like, I'm taking that, so I kept it. I also have tons of like Firefly and Star Trek memorabilia up here because those are some of my favorite shows. Underneath there, I have my Harry Potter and Tokidoki collection, as well as something that I feel like some of y'all would have seen on my past shows, Google Glass. I still have mine. I never sold it. It's probably dead at this point, but I don't care. I feel like this was really interesting. It was so fun to see what Google was doing with these, and I wish they would have gone further because I feel like they could have, especially now in 2021. And then on the bottom shelf, I have some Morse code tech. I still want to learn it because my last name is Morse, so I feel like I should. If you follow me on Twitter, you know that I'm slightly obsessed with Starbucks Frappuccinos. So I have my cold cup collection. I have all of my different electronic badges. I have tons of them from all the different shows that I have ever been to, all the different conventions. I like to keep those, and also whenever somebody makes their own as a part of badge life, whenever you go to hacker conventions, I like to collect them. I think they look amazing and all of them light up. None of these are are currently powered on. None of them have batteries in them because if you don't know, batteries can cause corrosion if you don't use them for a long period of time and you just leave them in your electronics. So if you have stuff sitting around, make sure to take the batteries out so you don't destroy your electronics in the process. Every YouTuber has to have a fake plant. So that's my fake plant. Ta-da! And my hollow taco collection. I can't help myself. I like doing my nails. So whenever I am recording my shows, I am standing here behind my IKEA table, which is a wonderful table. This is the perfect height for all of my shows. I'm very happy that I got one. I also got this stool in case I'm feeling lazy. This one is from Article. I will also put a link down below in the show notes so that you can check out all of this different furniture that I use on my set. The rug is from Rugs USA, and I believe I got the shelves from Amazon, but they've been in our households for half a decade, so it's hard for me to say where exactly I got them from. I think it was Amazon though. So this set has two of the same lights. Both of those are mounted to the ceiling, which you would have seen in some of my construction videos previously. They do plug in directly to the ceiling, and those are controlled through a switch, which is near the stairway. So I can easily walk into my studio, turn on the switch, and all of my lights will light up. I also control some of my studio gear, like my backlighting, which is Philips Hue, through my Google Home Max. So anytime I need to turn those on, I just tell the Googs to turn on studio and all of my lighting turns on, as well as my cameras. This is an Elgato frame, which I use for all of my top-down shots. So anytime you see something that is filmed directly onto the table, that's what I'm using. And I just plug in my Sony ZV-1 through a USB battery adapter. So that way I never have to worry about putting a new battery in anytime I'm recording through B-roll shots. This is charged through an Anchor USB hub, which is mounted onto the side of the table. I also record all of my audio through a Zoom H4n. It works pretty well, although I know that there's some hissing involved. You can definitely hear the S's. I do try to fix that in edit, but sometimes I miss it. So I'm trying to find a better audio option because I do think I could increase my audio quality. And as far as the teleprompter goes, in case you're interested in how I control that, it's basically controlled through HDMI. The HDMI is plugged into a USB-C hub, and that USB-C hub goes into my Google Pixel Book. So with the Pixel Book, I have this little Lenovo keyboard. I have two of these just in case I need a backup because one is none, two is much better than just having one. This is plugged in through a little Lenovo USB dongle. I simply switch it on and I can control my Google Pixel Book using the little spacebar and using the keyboard on here. So I don't have to bend down and touch my Google Pixel Book at all. I can actually just stand and look directly into my camera and tell you everything you need to know about whatever subject I'm talking about on that video. Since I'm recording audio and video on two separate pieces of equipment, I also have to sync those. So I use one of these little clapper boards, which you often see on film sets. That allows me to easily sync in post whenever I am trying to edit my video afterwards. Now these little lights, they're awesome. These are one of the newest pieces of my set and I love these. These are made from Aperture. They do have a battery inside of them. The battery lasts a couple of hours and they can light up full RGB, so I can change the different colors. As you can see, I'm gonna try to face it away from y'all so you don't get blinded by them, but they do light up a bunch of different colors, which is really cool. So if I'm going for a different mood in my episodes, I can change them, like a spooky green or whatever I'm going for that day. I plug these in through USB-C. USB-C is charging straight through a wall adapter, so I never have to worry about moving these. I don't have to worry about recharging them. However, if I go to a convention, I can easily take them off the wall, turn them off, and put them in my go bag so I'm ready for a con and I can interview people at their booths or whatever I need to do. You can also shoot on these with regular temperature lighting, so that whiter or yellowish lighting if you want to do that. So I don't have to necessarily stick with just RGB colors. You may be wondering about this friend of mine. This is my octopus cat, my octo kitty, I don't know. But whenever you're filming videos all by yourself, it's really hard to make sure that the focus is at the correct spacing for your aperture level on your camera. So what I do is I set this up where I intend to stand for my video on my set. Then I come over here to my camera and I can just change the focus so that it's focusing on my cute little octo kitty, which is going to be me once I'm standing over there. That is called a stand-in. So that is how I focus my camera whenever I'm doing my shows. I know it's ridiculous, but it works for me. This again is a stationary tripod. It's plugged in straight directly into the ceiling, so I can control it with my wall switch as soon as I come in the studio. This is called a Lilliput, I think, Lilliput 4K monitor, which is plugged directly into my Sony camera. I am using I think this is the f2.8 16-35 GM Sony lens, as well as the Sony a7R II. I have everything just set up on this really simple tripod, and everything is plugged in through one surge protector. So it's surge protected, which is great, and it's easy to use. This is all connected with a glide gear teleprompter. The teleprompter used to have a top frame, but I took that off and I put this different one on it, which is from Ulanzi, never heard of them. The reason why I purchased this specific brand is because they are Arca mount compatible. So on every single one of my tripods in the entire studio, I have Arca mounts. So it's really easy for me to take my camera off of one mount and easily move it to another one without having to take off the plate. This plate is compatible with every single one of my tripods now, and that's something that I should have done years ago, but I just now did. So incredible investment, makes my life so much easier. Right in front of my tripod, I also have this. This is actually a manual slider that I got off of Amazon many, many years ago. I've never gotten to use it until now, so I'm having a lot of fun getting really, really cool close-up shots of the tech that I'm reviewing with this slider. So anytime you see really smooth sliding transitional effects going on in my videos, that's why. And that also has an Arca mount on it. Listen, Mr. Snubs, it is spooky season. We are watching Hocus Pocus in the workday, okay? Don't judge me. So if we transition over from the ThreatWire set, the Morse Code set, the next thing is my editing station. So this editing station is made up of a wonderful Uplift desk, which was provided by Uplift. Really, Suki? I have two ultra-wide Alienware monitors, which were provided by Alienware, and I also have all of my different components, which were from a bunch of different places. I built my PC, which you can see here in the background, and I absolutely love sitting at this desk because I do have two windows facing outwards, so I can easily look out the windows, see some natural lighting if I want to, but if I'm recording, I generally just cover those with a couple of really nice curtains that my husband hung up for me. Both of those are blackout curtains, so they don't mess with the lighting at all, depending on, you know, if the sun's setting or if it's rising in the morning. You're not going to see those big differences whenever I'm recording on set. I can easily just close the blackout curtains, and the lighting in here is fairly level, so I'm really happy with it. Whenever I'm doing guest hosting, I generally turn on a couple of my Elgato key lights, which are mounted directly to the Uplift desk. I have another Sony ZV-1 mounted onto a tripod right behind my main monitor, which is the monitor that I use most of the time that I'm up here. I also have a Shure XLR microphone, and this is the microphone that I use for any podcast or any guest hosting. Like if you watch Daily Tech News Show, this is usually what I'm using for that show. The nice thing about having a standing desk is if I'm feeling like I need to have some more energy, if I feel like I've been stationary or sedentary for way too long, I can easily raise this desk to the correct height for my height, and I can just stand here and work away. I often find when I'm standing at my desk, I'm a lot more productive, so I tend to raise it up whenever I want to do some editing. She just really wants to be in the video, I guess. On top of the desk, I have a ton of charging stations for all of the different phones that I'm reviewing. I also have a nice little drawer for anything that I need easily accessible during my workday. So we're gonna circle around and I will show you the lab, which is one of my favorite parts of the studio. Also, little Easter egg, I love my Studio Ghibli museum map. It's so freaking cool. So here's the lab. This lab is basically where I can get soldering done, I can build computers, If I set up my 3D printer, I can work on that from over here. So this is basically where I can get anything that's happening behind the scenes done so that it's not taking up space where I need to keep my set clean. So if I want to dirty this area up, I'm totally fine with that. I also have another standing desk from Uplift over here. This has actually been in my life for like half a decade or more. So it's been around for a very long time and it works wonderfully still. So I can definitely attest to the lifetime of these things. They last a very long time. This section includes some art, which was made for me by different friends of mine, including Len Peralta, including Svetlana. So I have a lot of art going on back here. And then I also, Suki, your nails, honey. And I also wanted, you're making this very, very hard, okay? Next to, I start recording and you're like, like why? Why you gotta be like that? Right next to the lab desk, I have my charging station. This was inspired from a post I saw a few years ago using the same exact pegboard from IKEA. Again, love IKEA. It's highly customizable, so you can set this up however you like. I ended up purchasing 3 of these pegboards and then a whole bunch of the accessories. I keep a bunch of my accessories in this bag over here in case I ever need access to them, but this is where I keep all of my tools. It's where I keep my iFixit kits, and anytime I need to charge batteries, I need to charge additional accessories, I need to charge phones if I have extra phones to review, I can easily plug everything in here. I have my different areas labeled like full batteries and empty batteries. I have a place for USB-C and a place for micro USB. I just love how organized this is. And if anybody wants to steal this idea, please do, because this has made my life very, very organized, super easy, and very accessible. I like how everything is visual, so I don't lose anything, and I know exactly where all of my tools are all the time. Not much to mention over here, just extra boxes for tech I'm gonna sell in the future. These are the IKEA cabinets that my husband helped me build. These are so organized, and I do have to say a huge, huge thank you to the team over at Patreon, which this channel is also supported on Patreon, for providing me with a Container Store gift card. I was able to get these wonderful matching baskets that keep everything really organized inside these shelves, and they actually fit perfectly side by side. So I'm able to stick 2 on each shelf if I want to, but some of the shelves I like to kind of design since these are behind glass. So they're very visually appealing. I'm really happy with these. I keep all of my extra accessories up at the top. I have a backpack with a 3M mounted on the side. That's the backpack I use whenever I go to conventions. And otherwise, everything is extremely organized. This cabinet is used for all of my hacker gear. I have crafting supplies, soldering supplies, all my hacker components, all of my PC equipment in case I ever need to build a PC. Everything is organized into these cabinets, so they're not taking up space on my floor. I finally have a place to keep all of my lockpicking sets. I finally have a place for all of my networking accessories. And if I ever get back into 3D printing stuff, it's perfect. This one is full of all of my studio equipment, any additional tech that I'm gonna review in the future. I have all of my supplies up at the top for charging my phones. I have all of my phone boxes on this second shelf. I have a whole bunch of different gear set up for my lenses and for my cameras on the bottom 2 shelves. Something I really wanted to point out, also from Container Store, thank you Patreon, are these wonderful little organizing boxes. Now these are actually for jewelry, but they're perfect for phones. So if you have like 6 phones, then you could put them in here. You could actually use them for other stuff that you may worry might get scratched. These have a really nice padded interior, and it's made out of this nice velvet, so it keeps them very, very clean, very soft, so you don't have to worry about stuff getting scratched. Also, they fit perfectly into these cabinets, so I was like, why not? These are great for organizing all my different phones anytime I have to test them or bring them into the set. With any studio, you're going to have tons and tons of studio equipment. So I use these bottom cabinets for anything that I don't necessarily need right now, but I may need in the future. So this is where I keep all of my spare equipment. Right next to the lab, we transition into, so my friend Alyssa, I showed her the studio. She sat down in one of these chairs, which are so comfortable, and she immediately thought, interview space. And I thought, yeah, that's a wonderful idea. So maybe in the future, this will become a interview set. I think it would look really cool. I have a Philips Hue set up back here in my favorite color. I have a couple of these article chairs. That little table in the center, that was actually made by my stepfather. So I love that thing. I think it's so cool and I'm gonna keep it in my life forever. And the poster, I did want to point out because a few people did ask me about that on a previous video. That's from IKEA. It was really inexpensive, and since I'm a licensed ham operator, I felt like this kind of worked really well with my geeky aesthetic. So I love that poster. I think it's so cool. Not much to say about this room. It's where we have our HVAC and our water heater. They are insulated so you don't hear them whenever they come on, which is nice. I made the contractor put in this door so I wouldn't have to worry about seeing them all the time. That room's unfinished. Not much to worry about going on in there. Oh, but one thing I did want to point out in this room. So this is my circuit breaker for the basement. So if we need to access or turn off anything that's just powering the basement, we can do so through this specific board. And I did make sure everything was listed and organized on the side, so it's really easy for me to turn things off or turn them on, especially if I'm like going on vacation and I won't need to be in the basement at all. I can just turn off my entire studio from here. Not much to say about the next room either, but I did want to show it to you because I'm proud of my decorations. I think it looks great. This is our, it's like a half bath slash powder room down here in the basement. I figured this would be great since I don't want to go all the way upstairs to my bedroom to do hair and makeup anytime I'm recording. I do not do this every single day. This takes a long time. This hair and this makeup takes a long time. So I only do this on days that I'm going to be on camera. So this is my bathroom where I can get that kind of stuff done. Instead of putting a tub down here, we put in just a little closet section on the side to organize any additional stuff for the bathroom. Other than that, yeah, it's decorated for Halloween because it's October, so yay! Spooky season. I am obsessed with Daft Punk, so of course I had to put my poster down here as well. It's kind of a little Easter egg that you never see on camera, but it's something that I absolutely love. It's from Tron Legacy when they did the album for that. And the last thing that I wanted to show you was our custom bookcase. So my husband and I saw this space and we decided that we wanted to put in a really pretty bookcase back here just to store any of our additional books or anything that we wanted to put on some shelving back here. But also, surprise, we have a hidden room. I love this room. My husband actually decorated this room. He was fully in charge of doing everything for this space. So this was his design and I think he did a wonderful job with it. I'm not just saying that because he's working the camera today. I actually love this room. It is so cool. And I really wanted to show it to you today because we've been kind of hiding it until now. So this is the first time that we're actually showing this room in full online. So I hope you like it, but I wanted to show you around a little bit. We have a local Magic the Gathering group that gets together, including my husband. I'm hoping to get back into Magic. I learned how to play it last year, but I haven't played it in a while. So this is where we play Magic the Gathering if we ever get together. We have some art, which my husband found off of Etsy on the wall. We have some epic replica swords on the wall. I do want to go back to Disneyland and get a lightsaber to add to the wall. I think it would look really cool. And over here in the corner, we have this amazing, beautifully crafted wine barrel table, which my husband also found on Etsy. I wanted to point it out because this was crafted so amazingly and it looks great. And not only is it a wine barrel table, but this is where we keep all of our whiskey. I don't know if I should tell the internet this, because if y'all come over and find out where we keep the whiskey, it might disappear, but I'm letting you know anyway. That's where we keep our whiskey. I think it's so cool, and I love this table. I think Mr. Snubs found a great option for this space. Here, because how could you not? And this is the Nerf gun wall. This was designed by Mr. Snubs. I had no part in this, but y'all remember when I saw Mr. Snubs sneaking down the stairs one day into the basement with a stack of Nerf guns? This is why. It's because he was building this. We have a fairly inexpensive Samsung TV in here. I believe this was our old one that we replaced with an LG TV upstairs. So we moved our old Samsung TV down here so that we can just use it for like Chromecast and Netflix, stuff like that. We also have, and this is probably the coolest part of this room, a pool table! Yay! I never thought that we would be the adults that have a pool table in our house, but I guess that's us. We're the adults that have a pool table in the house. This is not new. It was purchased used, but it was in great condition. So we had no issues with it so far. We also use it as a card game table for Magic the Gathering. And husband, can I point out the pool balls?
Oh God.
Do you have a problem with that?
No.
Okay, so my husband's best friend sent these pool balls over to Mr. Snubs, and they actually feature Mr. Snubs on each one as the Dread Pirate Roberts from Princess Bride, because we go to Ren fairs and that's his costume. So I think it's cute. I really like these. They're adorable, and it's super fun to play pool and just like point at your picture.
Wow. I see how it is.
I love you. And real quick, I did want to mention this was from Etsy as well, and it's a wine barrel pool cue holder. I think it definitely plays somewhat off the like Witcher vibes that we have going on in here. So I'm down with that. So that is our hidden game room. I control it with a Lutron switch, which we keep on the bookshelf. So it's very easy for us to turn on the lights or turn them off after we're done for a day of gaming or playing pool. And that is pretty much everything having to do with my home studio. This is the dream home studio that I have been dying to have in my life for years. There was so much that I had learned from previous shows that I had worked on, so much that I was able to take into this space that I had learned from all the different producers that I had worked with, all the different networks that I have done shows on. So a lot of this came from experiences that I really, really liked working in those very professional environments. So it did take me a long time to build this set and build this studio, but I'm very proud of it. And I am so thankful as well to Lutron, to Ubiquity, to Alienware, and Uplift for providing different pieces of this set and in this studio to really help it come together. And a huge shout out to all of my friends and s'mores on Buy Me a Coffee, as well as patreon.com/ShannonMorse. Thank you so much for supporting all of the content that I do. You help me make it possible for me to provide those videos every single week. This is absolutely a dream that I have had in the making for a very long time. It was something that I had in my mind for years, and I just never had the space for it. And this was a huge reason why we chose to move to Colorado and why we chose to buy this home, is because I saw this basement and I immediately envisioned what I wanted it to be for my studio. So I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you liked learning about how I put it together. If there's anything that I did not cover in this video, I know it was a long one, but leave your comments down below. I'll be more than happy to answer those questions for you. If there was any tech or any furniture that you saw behind me that you are curious about where I purchased it, definitely let me know. I'm happy to provide links for those as well. I want to help other people build studios too. I think it's a super fun process. It's highly customizable and you can really personalize it depending on what kind of show you make. So thanks for watching. As usual, you can find me on social media and you can support the shows in all those different ways found in the description below. But until next time, this was Morse Code. I'm Shannon Morse. Bye y'all.